Hi, hello everyone. My name is Anand Vishwanathan, and probably from that, a lot of you have guessed that I am a software engineer. I am a software engineer, it's true, and I'm a software engineer with Xignite.com. And what we do is simple. We have the easiest, most popular set of financial market data APIs available. To give you an idea, last year we served 450 billion API requests, and this year we expect to serve 1 trillion requests. And because of this, some of the leading fintech startups, including over 40 Finovate alumni, choose us. And also some of the largest financial institutions trust us. We make market data easy for them. But there's something about market data that is not that easy. Market data changes all the time. And if we have to engage our users, we have to stream this data out to them as it changes. But streaming financial market data is not as easy. It's no walk in the park. We have to connect to a lot of feeds, we have to store a lot of the data, and we have to fan out all this data to the end users. It's a lot of code, and it's a lot of infrastructure. And this is why we're very excited about Xignite Cloud Streaming. Cloud streaming is a set of super simple APIs that allow you to stream financial market data into your web and mobile applications. So let's say you have built the next killer finance application and you have hundreds of thousands of users and you want to stream financial market data to all of them. With cloud streaming, you can do this in a matter of minutes, and the best part is that you have to deploy no infrastructure at all. So let me show you how easy it is. We're going to do a quick demo here. So here's a kind of a typical web application that needs to display some market data. In this case, it needs to display some quotes data. We have trusty old Microsoft here now. It doesn't do anything here because it's not wired up. So let's go into this. Let's go into this and maximize this. So we're using AngularJS for this demo. And we're first going to get the data from Xignite's standard RESTful web APIs that a lot of you may be familiar with. So we're going to use the global quotes API, as you can see in this URL. And we're going to make a call to our get global delayed quotes service. And for doing this, we're going to use the get data function, which is really straightforward. All it's doing is making a simple HTTP GET request and updating the UI with it. So let's go ahead and wire it up. We'll bind our ng click there to that function, reload, and it's going to take a couple of seconds. And then once you click go this time, you see that's the last price and the volume. It's pretty straightforward. You guys have all done this before, right? But the question is, can you make streaming this data just as easy? And the answer is yes, and it's very straightforward. And let me show you. We're going to change a couple of things in that same code. So the first thing we're going to change is this URL. We're going to say stream.xignite.com instead of globalquotes.xignite.com. On the other side of this stream.xignite.com URL is an event source endpoint. Now what this does is it sends server-sent events every time the underlying data changes. Server-sent events, as many of you may have heard, is an HTTP2 standard to stream events from your server to the client. And we think it's perfect for streaming data of any kind, but specifically market data since it changes so much. So to take advantage of this, we're going to use the stream data function that's over here, which does pretty much exactly the same thing, builds a URL. We support encrypted tokens, so you can do this all from your front end. It does two major things. The first thing it does is it creates a new event source out of the URL. And the best part about this bit is that this is APIs provided by your browser, so you don't need any external libraries for this. The second thing it does is it adds a couple of event listeners. One for the data event, which is the entire snapshot of the object that you've requested. And the second is a patch event, which is just the updates in JSON patch format. So in the patch event, we're simply applying the patch and updating the UI with the data. So let's see what that looks like. We're going to change this ng click binding again to point to the stream data function. Let's refresh and go. All right, so this time, as you can see, not only do we have the price and the volume, we can also see it changing. And we have a fancy graph to boot with that. So you can see, it's really easy to stream financial market data to your web and mobile applications and engage your users. And that brings us back to the initial problem that we had with financial market data. Market data changes all the time, and if we have to engage our users, we must keep them abreast with all the changes that are happening in the financial markets. Now, we just saw a really cool way of doing this in your applications using Xignite Cloud Streaming, but what if you could go one step further? What if you could also notify your users of market events that they're interested in, like a stock price that's crossed a threshold value, or a volume that's crossed an average? Sounds pretty simple, right? But if you had hundreds of thousands of users, then not only are you tracking millions of these alert conditions, but you also have to compare them against hundreds of thousands of market events that are occurring all around the world in real time and around the clock. So to do that, again, you have to connect to a lot of feeds, store a lot of data, write your parsers, deal with queue managers. It's a lot of code, and it's a lot of infrastructure. Which is why we're very excited to announce Xignite Cloud Alerts. Cloud Alerts is a set of super simple APIs that allow you to create customizable alerts on financial market data. Think webhooks for market data. So to give you an example, one could create a customized alert for a market event that you're interested in using Xignite's APIs. And when that event occurs, we will perform a callback on a URL that you specified. And you can then use this to notify your users via text or email or in-app notification. So let's see this in action, shall we? So just a quick demo. Before that, if you go to our product page for Xignite Alerts, you can see that we have three operations. We have the create, the delete, and the search. We're interested in creating alerts, so let's go in here. And as you can see, you can customize this alert quite a bit. You can create alerts based on identifiers of pretty much any kind. You can use different data sets, different kinds of conditions. You can decide when to reset it, how often it should repeat itself. You can schedule alerts for the future. You can customize this quite a bit. But we want to see this in action. So we've created a little app here for that as well. So let's assume that this is one of your applications, and you want to create an alert for your user. You need 4 major things to create an alert. The first thing is the identifier, which is the actual symbol on which you're creating the alert. So let's go back to our trusty MSFT, and Cloud Streaming gives us the actual price and the volume right there. The second thing is the API. The API here is the data set on which you want to create this alert on inside the Xignite world. So this could be currencies, this could be metals, options. We are going to use Xignite's global real-time service, which is the real-time quotes service. So the condition is pretty straightforward. We're going to create a volume-based condition. So let's create a condition of this. And the last one is a callback URL. The callback URL is the URL, obviously, which you will get to receive a callback on when the event occurs. So this is going to take a second. Once this data changes and once the data reaches the threshold value, it should fire the alert, which it doesn't seem to like at the moment. So we're going to try this again. All right. I think the market's slowing down, not a lot of volume at the moment. Right. Copy that. We're going to create another volume alert. We can let's create an alert for a slightly older volume, maybe. Oh, there you go. That one triggered. I think I did something wrong with the previous one, because we did cross that volume sometimes, some typo or something like that. But as you can see, that triggered the alert. But what you guys didn't actually see over here is that on my phone, I got an email and an SMS as well for that. So it's pretty straightforward to hook it up to something like, I don't know, how many of you guys are familiar with things like if this, then that? Anyone here? Yeah. So So, this is exactly the kind of things that engineers go absolutely crazy over, right? Like one API talking to another API. Oh, magic, right? So we love this. We've been going crazy with this. We think it's going to be really cool. You can have this hook up to pretty much any other API and have it do some really cool things. So there you have it. We have two really cool ways to engage your users in web and mobile, to keep your users abreast with all the changes in the financial markets: cloud streaming to stream financial market data, and cloud alerts to notify your users of the latest market events. That's pretty much it from us here. We have a booth all day today with some of the colleagues of mine from Xignite will also be there. You can please come and chat with us. We're open to chat about alerts or streaming or webhooks or why server-sent events and why we think it's awesome for market data. Also, a quick shout out for our friends, our technology and our FinTech Revolution partners, StreamData.io, right there. And they're going to be on stage tomorrow presenting. They're doing a build, I think a live build of an app with streaming financial data. So definitely go see that and definitely come and chat with us. We have a little bit of time left, so I'm open to questions if there's any questions. Otherwise, pretty much it. Anyone have any questions on that? All right. That's pretty much it. I guess that was a good demo, I guess. All right. See you guys.